Welcome into the Beat Sessions, the place for all things music and where we do the listening for you. I'm your host, Mitchell Weary. It's Friday, August 11th. Hope you've all had an outstanding week. I am pretty damn pumped to lead things off with a brand new record from the Hives entitled The Death of Randy Fitzsimmons. This is studio album number 6 for the Swedish rockers and their follow-up to 2012's Lex Hives. And don't tell me that rock and roll is dead while these guys are still out there making music. I know it's been a minute, but they're back. And this record is exactly what you'd want and expect from them. And I love that about it. 32 minutes of them just bringing the fury in your face. And I'm thrilled for a younger generation of rock and roll fans to discover this outfit. If they haven't already, it's kind of tough when a band doesn't put out new music for 11 years. It's tough to trigger the algorithm, so to speak, that drives all of these platforms. So it's great that those songs are there. All of these younger fans, if they're not familiar with them, or older fans alike too, you have 5 other great records that you can go back and listen to. And you have Randy Fitzsimmons to thank for those records. Now, before you just stop this video from me being insensitive, if you're not familiar with this outfit, Randy Fitzsimmons is this alter ego, the 6th member of the band, so to speak. And he's credited for all of the songwriting on those albums. This band is so committed to their craft, more so than other bands. I feel that there's certainly a level of self-indulgence with any artist, anybody that does any type of performing. I mean, me sitting in here talking about music in front of a camera is self-indulgent. I'll admit it. I have no problem saying that. There's a certain element of that, I think, that is necessary to, for artistic drive. These cats, however, and I'd argue that it's a reason that they're still around when a lot of their contemporaries, when they exploded in the early 2000s, that big garage rock scene. It was a great time in music. It was a really fun place to be. But there's a lot of those bands that aren't around anymore. The Hives, again, I know it's been a minute, but they're still here with us and they're still so committed to their craft. This is a band that isn't looking to experiment or branch out. They have one goal, and it's to make the best rock and roll music that they want to hear. If you don't like that, then you're probably not going to be into the Hives. But, I know plenty of people, including myself, that are massive fans of this outfit, the music that they make. But it's really interesting when you hear these guys talk about the concept of this outfit and their goal to, as individuals, embody what they idealize as the best rock and roll outfit out there, and then, commit to being those personalities and then making the music. It's an interesting dynamic there. These guys, for all the, I guess, performance that's there, are still so authentically themselves and so raw. And that's what's great about it. There's something that's very Bowie-esque about what they do as far as, the rock star personalities, but the true authenticity to themselves. And it's my favorite thing about David Bowie, all the different personas that he had. And so I think that something like this with the Hives, it's so cool and it works as long as you stay committed to, what it is that you're crafting. And so it tickles me to no end that after all this time, after 11 years in between records, that these guys are back and doing exactly what it is that they've always done. And it's a ton of fun. This thing, man, there's moments where it's just like raw punk rock. I love it. Again, it's 1,000 miles an hour in your face. It kicks off with Bogus Operandi. Lead single is an excellent song. There's some serious riffage on this thing that's pretty tasty. A little feedback, a couple of big guitar notes to open, and just a little bit of space in between those. And then that riff comes in and it creates this ominous feel too. Like, I love the feel of this track and the energy that it creates to start the record. Chorus feels a boost in that musicianship, but I really dig the groove that this song establishes and rides. And that's the cool thing about this band and their style. They'll find some cool riffage or, just a cool groove, a good lick to work around and play in. And people that I know that aren't necessarily fans, their criticism is, well, they'll just, kind of like ride a riff for 3 minutes in a song. But you have to stop and listen to these guys, because while they do that, what makes their music so much fun is the nuance, the way that, like a bass lick might enter and then move out, or the way that like drums, the timing might change. There's all these different little fun factors of their music that, while a song will ride that groove, again, there's so much with the instrumentation that's working in and out of that groove that stylistically, these guys are just so badass, in my opinion. Trapdoor Solution, excuse me, is your second song. Hot out the gate. And this is one of those songs that I'm talking about. This is a punk rock song, and it's one of those things that is just gonna ride a hook for a minute, gets in, gets out, done. It's really a nice contribution to this album. I dig it. Countdown to Shutdown is your third track. Vocal countdown, and then big intro. Verse is going to ride the bass. I really love the stellar groove that this song establishes once it backs off that intro. And then you're going to get all that instrumentation, comes back in a couple of times. And then the chorus brings the thunder, just really just high raw energy. And then your coda is going to hit even harder on that track. It's another good one. Rigor Mortis Radio is your fourth track. Big drums and hand claps. I really love. There's a lot of hand claps on this record. I really love it when they're bringing that. And the vocal on this thing to open up, I dig that. You get this subdued guitar that comes in after a few bars, and this thing, it's got just a cool retro feel. I really dig just the kind of like retro pop feel of a lot of tracks, honestly, on this record. But I think that is just a groovy feeling track. Stick Up is your fifth song. Guitar and drums quickly give way to this just like chunky, like Louisiana jazz vibe. Just, I mean, it's got a little bit of like that swing style. It's just big and chunky, a little experimental for them, but still working within that framework of theirs. It's definitely one of the more fun and again, experimental tracks on the record. Smoke and Mirrors, quick drums for, kind of just a Ramones style track. Really just love the energy that song brings. Crash Into the Weekend is your seventh song. Some more hand claps, guitar, vocals going to hit. This thing I really dig this track. It has kind of this like country rock flair that, if you're familiar with like some Stones albums, or the Flamin' Groovies are a really good example of just that country rock flair that I think both bands historically did very well. Two Kinds of Trouble is your eighth song. Simple riff, with lots of space in between those notes. So it's the perfect type of track where you're listening to it and you're like, oh man, there's so much open space for these guys to start maneuvering. And that's what I'm talking about as far as their compositions. The way that the different instrumentation works in and out of this song is really fun. It's definitely a highlight as well for that reason. That's The Way the Story Goes is your ninth track. A little bit of a psychedelic intro, and then it ushers in just a track that's got a pretty solid psychedelic feel all around, but I like the surf rock, the retro pop that's driving this particular track. It just sounds like something that, if you took a time machine back to like the early 60s and you were in California on a record store on a beach, it's just like just about every record you'd pull out would have just kind of this vibe to it. It's a fun track. The Bomb is your 10th song. Vocal hook to open, you get this frenzied punk style track. I really like the way that the bass drops out in the verse. And then you basically just get like, it's like this just lo-fi drum effect, vocal, a little bit of guitar, and then some more of that fun composing there, different instrumentation weaving in and out. It's fun, fast-paced song. Really great way to lead into What Did I Ever Do to You? Your penultimate track comes as a result of maybe hanging out with Arctic Monkeys at the beginning of the year, or in May anyway. But they were out on tour with them. I can't imagine how awesome that show would have been. I hope they were offering like cots for naps. I mean, I imagine after seeing the Hives and then, waiting to see another band, like the energy that this band brings in their live show, honestly, is unparalleled. It's pretty impressive. But What Did I Ever Do to You? Like electric drums, some other electronics, a really sick guitar riff though. I really love this riff. This thing, it kind of reminded me of a combination of like INXS and Depeche Mode a little bit, with the great guitar work, and especially Howlin' Pele, like his voice on this thing kind of sounds like Michael Hutchence a little bit. I'll just throw that out there. Disagree if you will, but I think it kind of has an INXS vibe a little bit. Really just, I love the jazz feel when this thing, it drops out and it comes back a little harder, but it's more of like a jazz drive towards the back end of the song. It's pretty interesting. Step Out of the Way, your final song. Big stomping drums and vocal, little guitar works in and out. And and then this thing just brings the action to finish. Again, 12 songs, 32 minutes. It's a hot affair. It seems like it might be a little short given an 11-year hiatus, but if you are familiar with this band and you know what they do, I don't know if you could I don't know if you could take any more without having to seriously take a nap in the middle of your day or without having to just go to sleep. This thing is high energy. It's amazing. I'm so happy to have this band back. This is certainly a vinyl, please. Hope you enjoy this album. Hope you find this review helpful as well. Please like this video and share it. Subscribe to the channel. Do all the things to help us blow this project up in 2023. And stay tuned throughout the week for more album reviews. We will see you next time on the Beat Sessions.